Good afternoon. Or is it evening? Good evening. First of all, I'm Pastor McNeil. We want to welcome you here to this candidates debate. We had a few changes, but we're ready to get started now. So we're going to ask Pastor Damian Briggs, who is the president of the National Capital Baptist Convention, if he will come and lead us. Sorry. I'm going to ask my good friend, Reverend Nathaniel Thomas, if he will come and lead us in our prayer, opening prayer.
Let us pray. Father God in heaven, we come this evening again to say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, oh God, that we are gathered together to do your will, your way. Thanking you, oh God, for the opportunity of hearing each and every one of these candidates, to know where our community is headed and how they're going to help us get to where we need to be. Bless each and every one of them. Open up and continue to give the wisdom, the knowledge that will come with the understanding of that which we should do and how we should be. In all of these blessings we ask in your name we pray. Amen.
Before Pastor Briggs come, we did invite all the first top four candidates. Our state's attorney, Aisha Braveboy, at the last minute today called and let me know that she would not be attending tonight's event due to a conflict in scheduling. But these are the candidates here tonight, amen, to give us their platform and explain where their vision would take the county. As we come now, we're ready to turn it over now to Pastor Briggs.
Thank you all. I greet you in the name that is above every name, the name where every knee shall bow and certainly every tongue shall confess that Jesus is Lord. I greet you all, bring you greetings from the National Capital Baptist Convention, where I currently serve as president and also pastor of Eastern Community Church in Landover, Maryland. Indeed honored to be here on tonight. We certainly again thank the candidates that have consented to be here to demonstrate their platform. It is my honor to introduce our moderator for the evening, who has coordinated these activities for us so that we can be informed and make an informed decision as it relates to the leader of our respective county. Our moderator is Sandra Pruitt. She serves as the Executive Director of People for Change Coalition, a membership coalition representing over 300 nonprofits and minority businesses in Prince George's County and the state of Maryland. She is the former chair of the Advisory Board of Workforce Development, Team Builders Academy at Prince George's Community College, and she brings over 23 years of experience in the nonprofit sector, which 9 were spent at independent sector, where she was responsible for membership recruitment, retention, database management, conference and event planning and management data for over $10 million in grant campaign. Her later years at IS were spent as a director of technology, finance, and human service resources. In 1997, she formed Strategic Technology Solutions, working with nonprofits and businesses to streamline operations and improve overall mission and goals. In addition, she has provided support for several campaigns at the local, state, and federal levels. She currently provides technical support and capacity building services for 2 Black chambers, Prince George's County, and Tampa. So let us give a rounding applause to Sandra Pruitt, who is the moderator of our event for this evening. God bless you.
Pastor Briggs, thanks for that warm welcome. And again, welcome everyone to our candidate forum. Who's our timekeeper? Great, okay. Keep eyes on the timekeeper. So I'd like to welcome our candidates to the forum. And let me just share, we asked people as they've registered to kind of highlight some of their top priorities and concerns. So as we go through the evening, we incorporated some of that into our questions. And one of the things we constantly keep hearing from our residents is that no matter who they put in office for county exec, things don't seem to change. And especially for the Black population, and we're hearing directly from them that nothing seems to change. But yet our tax dollars keep increasing in the county, and people want something to be done. So these candidates on the stage, someone's going to be our new county executive, and it may be for a short window, and they'll have to run again, but they'll have a lot of power in their hands to really make an impact and difference in quality of life issues in our community. So we hope that you get a lot from their responses. We are going to open up the floor towards the end to allow audience questions and participation as well. So each candidate is going to have an opportunity to introduce themselves. You'll get 1 minute for your introduction, and they'll also get 1 minute to respond. Also, they are going to get an extra 30 seconds if someone mentions something about them or their record. They'll get 30 seconds to respond to that if they would like to take that opportunity to do so. So again, we look forward to an engaging discussion this evening, and we're going to let each of the candidates just do their 1 minute introduction, and then we'll go from there. Mr. Ron Hunt.
One, two, one, two, one, two. 1, 2. I don't have a mic, I don't think. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, now you can hear me. Okay, now we start the time. My name is Ron Hunt. Hello, everybody. I'm happy. I'm happy you came out this evening. This is a very special time for everybody. I am not a politician, nor do I ever want to be one. I've been doing this, we're going to call it a road show for the past 2 months now, and I've listened to so many lies just to get applause. A lot of you might know me. I owned the largest nightclubs in D.C. back in the 80s and 90s. I did a lot of work with the community. Right now I have an internet service. I also have a ferry boat service in St. Martin. I also have a company in India. I fought for my seniors, police department and all. If you go to Ron Hunt for pgcounty.com, you can look at all my real endorsements, not anybody that popped up and said, I will endorse you for a favor. I work with these people for more than 20 years. All I have to say is you're going to hear the truth out of me, whether you like me or not. So the bottom line is thank you for coming out. And by the way, these two gentlemen here, they are great people, unlike the rest of them.
It's the truth.
Councilmember Hawkins.
Good evening. I'm Calvin Hawkins. For the last 6 years, I've served as one of your county council members. I serve as a council member at large. For the last 30 years of my public career, I've been involved in Prince George's County, starting in the Department of Public Works, working through the Office of Emergency Management, having the opportunity to work with 2 county executives, working to build a Prince George's County that we all could be proud of. Have we ran into some roadblocks? Certainly we have. But our best days are still yet ahead because we are moving this county in a direction that we can say at the end of the day, Prince George's County is better as a result of having public servants like myself working with individuals like you. The last 3 years, we've worked to make Prince George's County better, and as a result, we've built 14 schools over the last 6 years, And I wanted to say I'm glad to be here to support you and hear what you have to say.
Mr. Baker, our former county executive.
Thank you, and thank you for doing this, Sandy. It's good to be here with these gentlemen. I'm Rashawn Baker. As Sandy said, I was the county executive from 2010 to 2018. And we have been going around the last month or so, or 2 months, holding hearings. And there's a lot of things in Prince George's County that need to be changed. If you remember back to when I was county executive, when we came in, what Prince George's County was like. We had the highest number of homicides that we'd seen in a while. We had a deficit in the county, and our former county executive was on his way to jail. At the end of the 8 years that I was county executive, things did start to improve in this county. We led the state in job creation. We brought in Whole Foods, we brought in MGM, we brought in Tanger. We brought a lot of development to the county, and we were on our way. But over the last 6 years, what we've seen is the county slide back. That now our crime rate is at a high, and that is my time.
Okay, great, thank you. Our first question pertains to the Board of Elections and also how we can get better turnout in our county. And just to give you a little bit of data, in the last turnout for the last special election for the at-large seat, it was just a 12% turnout. Ballots cast, there were only 65,568 ballots. And Jolene Ivy won with 29,758 votes. Then we have our turnout for our gubernatorial primary. Just out of Prince George's County, the total amount of ballots cast were 129,706 Democratic and 7,018 Republicans. The Moore-Miller administration won with just 59,000 votes out of Prince George's County. And when we have over close to almost 600,000 eligible voters, we are seeing lower and lower turnout. So I'd like to ask the candidates, the Board of Elections has a $13.1 million budget. What role can they do to increase more voter education and help us with turnout? We only hear from them when it's election time, but they have a staff and they have a budget. So what can be done? And we start with Mr. Baker.
Yeah, I should say this, that what they can do, and I think they're doing some of this now. I was in a presentation that the Board of Elections did, and that is you have to work all year round. So it's not just making sure, and I like the fact that we have that people are getting ballots in these special elections, that we have opportunities with the where you can vote at any time. By the time you got your ballot, you could actually go in right now and vote. But you can also do early voting. We can do same-day registration. But I think the main thing is to try and get our young people and folks like that, that's the area where we're missing out on. So when people register for their driver's license, automatically have them register to vote, do education programs throughout the year. I know they're doing some of it, but do more of it. And make sure that people understand where they can and cannot vote. I think people get confused. The other thing is we've had a lot of special elections in this county. And if we're honest with ourselves, people are voter fatigue. You had a presidential election that was contested, you had a special election, and then another special election. So I think we have to look at, one, how we actually replace folks who vacate, and then how we educate people on what goes on in the county. But I think that's where the Board of Election can play in. The other part of it is that's where we should be playing in. That's part of our community service, where you can use our community outreach office, park and planning, our library system could also help with this, educating people. So I think there's a myriad of ways that we should play a part. The other thing is, as county executive, this is one of the things I want to do that I didn't do as county executive before, and that is to go around in our schools, in our communities, in our churches, talking about this issue. This is the perfect time to talk about why we should be voting, looking at the fact that the person we have in the White House is trying to reverse everything that's happened to us. If voting wasn't important before, it is now. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I?
Yes.
I look at your question from a different lens. our Board of Election has mailed every registered voter in Prince George's County a mail-in ballot, whether they voted once, they voted 60 times, or 3 times, or 0 times. They have received the mail-in ballot. They have advertised on all the social media. They have done their part, in my opinion. We have to remove ourselves from the mindset of the blue wave, the blue party, the Democratic Party, because we keep losing nationally. We organize when it's time for an election and we say to citizens, we need you to come out and vote. Every nonprofit, every church has to take on that mindset of the civil rights movement, not just showing up in front of the White House protesting, but organizing our communities, one community at a time, until we return to that kind of commitment. Because if you're trying to get people in Prince George's County to vote when they don't have jobs, when they find or they have concluded that their government has failed them, then to try to encourage them to vote and talk to them about the importance of voting, they understand that, or we should understand, if we haven't been talking to them on the off voting season, why do we believe they will talk to us and respond to us when it's time to vote? We know the importance of it, but they may not consider themselves involved in the process, so don't come to them when they haven't been involved before now. That's my view.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt?
Well, here's my view. I think they're partly right, but I'm just like you. I'm not a politician. You are not excited to vote because you get the same lame brain politicians who you talk bad about after they're elected, and then it's like Mr. Baker said, it's the same cycle. We're little rats on a wheel running. And they tell us they're going to do something, and they don't do it. So now, the next time something comes up, I'm not going to vote for them. They're going to do the same thing all over again. I don't want to be bothered with this stuff. And then you hear stuff like Miss Braveboy, and I'm not talking bad, I'm only talking truth. You all voted for Also Brooks. You did not vote for David Trone. But isn't it funny how David Trone put more than $70,000 behind Braveboy? What are they, dating? I'm not trying to be funny. I put $50,000 in for my own campaign. I didn't ask any of you for money because I did want to be different. And now because of what she's done, I'm going to add another 20 to it. You know why? Because she can't do this job. She can't do the job that she's in. I'm not talking bad about her. I'm talking facts. How do I find this out? I'm at these things every week with them. And when I'm leaving, somebody pulls me aside because everybody knows me because of the clubs and everything I own. And the first thing they said, "You're not going to believe what's happening." I said, "What are you talking about?" And after they tell me, I'm actually in shock. So now, instead of me opening my mouth, I did some checking, and they were right. And to prove it, I kept the information on my phone because I don't know these people, but I got their numbers. How can any of you want to vote for any of us if you think it's always going to be a scam? How could any of you have any hope in your heart about anything coming up if you believe it's a scam? I'm sorry, guys. You can nod your heads at me. You can do. It's the truth. That's all you're going to hear out of me is the truth.
Okay. Mr. Councilmember Hawkins,
You said we have a 30-second
30-second rebuttal. Yes.
I just want to share with Ron, because all of these individuals, when we are up here, keep saying they are not politicians. But the Marinian Dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary, and the Webster Dictionary defines a politician as someone who holds elected office or a candidate for elected office. So you're a politician.
Oh, you think? Wait, don't you love him? That's why I told you these are nice guys. I've never held a political office. I don't want to. I will be working for you if you elect me. I will not be working for the political office.
Okay, we're going to move on. Mr. Baker must have been looking on my sheet because He touched on something when he talked about how to better engage our voters. The Prince George's Memorial Library System has a budget of $37.5 million. And it says in their mission that they have a community and outreach division that oversees and supports the library's engagement with community through strategic partnerships. But when I researched the website, I just saw very few partnerships, and they seem to be with University of Maryland. And one of the things that we do know that libraries can do, the Charles County Memorial Library, a number of our members actually go to that library and get resources. So we're asking each of the candidates, with a budget that size, what more could the Prince George's County Memorial Library System be doing to better engage our nonprofits and be an entity in the county that when they spend their dollars, there's some outreach dollars that they can do better outreach. So if we can start with Councilmember Hawkins.
Sandy, the Prince George's Memorial Library has a new CEO, and I would recommend to you to meet with him, and based on his short tenure and based on his presentations before the county council, as well as what he's put in place, I believe you will find a partner to work with you and your colleagues to get to what the answer to the question. I'm saying to you publicly in front of everyone here that once you reach out to him, you will be pleased with the outcome, because he's someone that believes in collaboration, and he believes in partnerships, and he believes in getting out in the county. So you'll have a great partner and once you reach out to him. I yield the rest of my time.
Okay, and I just want to add that Charles County Library offers use of free space for nonprofits. When we try to book the libraries here in Prince George's County, we're charged a fee. In addition, when you want to search for grants, in Prince George's County, only one library in Laurel. We have to drive all the way to Laurel to be able to search this database for free, when, to me, out of a budget of $37.5 million, we should have this database at all the libraries, and we should not have to travel across town. So those are some of the things that the leader of not the library, but our county executive can set the tone that when we invest all this in a budget, it should impact quality of life, help our nonprofits, our small businesses, our families with those dollars.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt, did you?
I agree with you. This kind of money that's being spent, they should be rolling out red carpets for people like you. If you think about what's happening here, the libraries are not being utilized to the fullest extent that they could be utilized with, because times have changed. Everybody in here, we're on this all the time doing this. Anything we want to find is right here. So libraries are actually becoming a thing of the past if you look at it in the old way. I don't know if these libraries are lined up with computers and hopefully some new stuff so that people can come in and do what they need to do in there. I'm not sure of what that is, but for the kind of money you're talking about that is given to the libraries, there's no way that they shouldn't allow nonprofits in there, advocates for the community, not somebody trying to save a giraffe, but the community, to come in freely. And I don't understand why you just said that, because that doesn't even make sense. People in here, some of you have children, and I guarantee you, rather them in the library than being out on the street somewhere, even if it's on the computer in the library, because you know they're surrounded with books and something might hit their head and they open up a book or something. That's just the way it is. Just like the curriculum in our schools. They have to change the curriculum to come up with the times. I hate saying we need to do this. That's what a politician says. We have to do this. For that kind of money that's spent, where is it going? Were they paying the bill, the heating bill? There's so much extra here that we can do for that kind of money. That's all I have to say, because it's going to upset me, and I get very passionate.
Okay, Mr. Baker? And Pastor McNeil, it's 1 minute.
That's fine.
Yes, 1 minute response.
Thank you. Um,
Yeah, give her 2 minutes, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I can expand upon the answer. You know, having been county executive and gone through the budget of our library system, they do a great job. But we have to rethink how we use our library. And Sandy, you're absolutely right. It is not just about the money that we give to the library system, because with those dollars, they have to maintain the system itself that's in our facilities. I'm very proud of the fact that we built new libraries throughout Prince George's County and modernized them so that they could actually be the hubs for the community. So a part of that is the staffing. We want to keep our libraries open longer. If you notice, the times have been shortened. We need to keep them open longer. We need the staff there that can help with us. But we also need to do what you said, Sandy, and that is we should be providing the type of services that you see elsewhere, not just with having it meeting space that's free to our nonprofit communities, but also the ability, as you said, to search for grants. And I would go one step further, not just having the ability to search for grants in those libraries. That's where we actually should put the county's grant offices so that we have staff members throughout our library system. I know when I ran a nonprofit, I wanted to find out how to get money to help what we were doing, to pay the staff. So imagine if we had staffing in our libraries that the county paid for the staffing, but they're hosted there. The other thing is about reimagining why libraries are still important is they're still the hub of our community. Take a place like Bladensburg, the brand new library there that helps communities that don't have internet at their house. They can now go to that hub. But why don't we actually take some ideas from, and I wanted to do this when I was county executive and didn't get a chance to do it, and I want to do it this time, is you look at what Chicago has done. They've turned their libraries almost into Borders books, where you have stuff like coffee, other things there, and it's a meeting place for people to come in. I want to do that with our system. San Francisco's doing
I
the same
think we're,
thing.
we're out of time, but I thank you, Mr. Baker.
Do I get my 30 seconds?
I think I get 30 seconds now.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We got a lot of good stuff, but yes, and we're gonna move on to the next question because, and if you can weave in maybe something, your comments in your next question. But the next question pertains to the county's budget. As everyone knows, the county adopted a $5.46 billion FY 2025 budget. And Jerry, if you can pass out the handout on the nonprofit dollars. One of the things we were looking for in the budget, because when the county sets a budget, it's telling you what their priorities are, what they were doing for our black businesses and our nonprofits. And let me just share with you, the county budget is 846 pages. And what we found, yes, what we found that the county does determine certain nonprofits in the county where they get a line item in the budget automatically. Our tax dollars are helping to subsidize these entities, and that handout is coming out. And so what I'd like to hear from the candidates, since the PFC Coalition and PFC Black Chamber, we represent the majority of black nonprofits in the county and black businesses, but we don't see line items in the budget that help with technical assistance, capacity building, and support. And we were hit the hardest by the pandemic. So I'm going to start with Mr. Hunt. If you become county executive, what is your commitment to the line item budget? And people will see from the sheet, $44 million is line item going, and these groups don't have to go out and write grants. I see some of our members here. It's, I mean, a lot of stress when we have to continuously, every year, go out and write grants to fund our organization, yet we are subsidizing entities that it's not helping with our budget, because the budget shortfall this year for the county is $171 million. So at what point do we get some other organizations in the game instead of giving these same entities all these tax dollars for them to operate, and it's not making an impact on us? So, Mr. Hunt?
Well, there's a couple things. All of these entities that you are describing, These entities have to be investigated as far as I'm concerned. Just because you have a nonprofit don't mean you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're collecting money. I've seen it happen 100 times over. What we need is training for our black business people. I was trained by a guy named Martin Chernoff. He ended up being just like a father to me. And he didn't know he was training me, but he trained me, and I did very well for myself. We have to train our black businesses, and then we have to say to ourselves, what is the fastest way to make money? And we're not 20 years ago, we're not back in 2008, we're now. So what I suggested the other day was, all of our small businesses, we have 6 Amazon distributors here in Prince George's County. Whatever they normally charge to sell one of their items, one of the person's items, might be 5%. If they're in Prince George's County and you live here in Prince George's County and you have a small business, I say they give it you for a quarter of what they normally charge because they live here with us. And when you're selling, let's say, 100 cards, now you're selling 2,000 cards and your rent doesn't go up. These are the type innovative ideas that I have that what will happen is all of you will reap the benefits and more commerce will come here because of it. And that's what I think. All right, thank you.
Councilmember Hawkins?
As you know, Sandy, when I served as chair of the county council, I attempted to work with you and the People for Change Coalition because of these very concerns. As county executive, quite frankly, I will address them, but looking at this list, the ones that I do know that's on here, I'm going to be honest with you, I would support those organizations getting the funding that they are receiving. The one that's not on here, the organization I would support is your organization. As you know, I've attempted to do that in the past. But I also think, ladies and gentlemen, that particularly for our nonprofits, what you do for black nonprofits and other nonprofits and even businesses, along with what the Prince George's Coalition of Nonprofits do, we need a model like that because I personally believe giving funding to the nonprofits through our elected officials is too political. And what I believe needs to happen, we need to have an organization that receives the funding, and the measure for giving out funding is the same for each organization that applies. I believe that is the best way to support the giving out taxpayer dollars. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I'm leaving Ron Hunt and Rashawn Baker to have all this time with you. I have a returning citizens event that I must go to over in Lanham.
If you don't mind, we'd like you to at least stay for the answer our question about crime, because
Okay.
that's very important. Mr. Baker?
Thank you. I've looked at the list here. Many of the organizations that's listed here on the sheet are quasi-governmental agencies, and that means they serve a purpose a function that the government does not do, but they're quasi-government, like the Economic Development Corporation. But to the heart of what Sandy's question is why don't we have enough money in our non-discretionary money to help with the nonprofits that are out there in Prince George's County? So it really means that we need to grow that portion of it. That's really where we can too, and we tried some of it as county executive, but many of the projects that we started under my administration had not come to fruition fully. Take, for instance, MGM. That is now bringing in about $47 million to Prince George's County. A portion of that could be used, that's non-discretionary money, that can be used to fund our nonprofits to make sure we're filling the gap where we need to. If nothing else we've learned during COVID is government can't do everything. So we should start building up our nonprofit and faith-based nonprofits to do some of the stuff that we can't do. Building housing, senior housing, redevelopment, those things that reach out into the community. That's where you can actually use what we're bringing in. So the money we're bringing in from an MGM, from a Tanger, from a Whole Foods, from Amazon, all of that should be targeted toward expanding the nonprofits in our community, and I would do that as county executive.
Okay, thank you. The next question deals with crime. And Jerry's passing out, if you get some help to pass out the handouts on crime. A lot of the responses to people who signed up for the forum, they were concerned about crime. And I know our state's attorney has been touting that crime is going down drastically. So we're passing out data that we retrieve from the state website. And one of the things we noticed that homicides for the past 5 years have been over 100 people in Prince George's County. In comparison to other counties, much, much lower. In addition, you'll see from the handout that's being passed out, which is nice. I love this website because it compares Prince George's County to all of the counties across the state of Maryland. And as you can see, some of the numbers are alarming. So I'd like to ask these candidates, number one, do you plan to keep the current chief of police? And if not, what are your plans to making Prince George's County safer?
Me?
Mr. Baker.
Yeah. I'm glad you're passing this out because it's something that we've talked about from the very beginning of this campaign, and one of the reasons I decided to run again. If you look at where crime was when I was county executive, we had lowered violent crimes in the county to almost a 50-year low. In fact, during part of the period I was county executive, we had less than 67 homicides. Now that's 67 too many, but we were bringing crime down. Why? Because we were focusing on things that were actually at the root of crime. We used a program called, and I know Sandy and Jerry know this, we used a program called our Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative, where we actually brought government down to the lowest level. But what we've seen over the last 6 years is crime steadily going up. Even after COVID, we seem to lead the region in the state, and this is what this shows, in crime. That is one of the reasons, and probably the main reasons, that I received the endorsement of all of our public safety unions, including our firefighters, EMS, our police officers of Prince George's County, our deputy sheriffs, our police officers in park and planning, our civilian officers, our civilian union. And their reason was they work with the current elected officials, and we haven't reduced crime, including the state's attorney who says crime is down. That is not true. I will say this, as county executive, the person I will change is the county executive.
I'll answer our question about the chief of police. Do you plan to keep the current chief of police?
Here's my thing on the chief. Having been county executive, the problem with reducing crime falls on the county executive. That is the person. So if the chief of police is not doing his job, then he needs to go. But the person who needs to go first is the county executive. That's the person who determines what's going on. When I had a police chief, if I lost confidence in that police chief, I changed him.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Hawkins?
To answer your question, your initial one, I've worked with Chief Aziz, and I definitely will keep him as the police chief. He is not the issue. The men and women working in our county police department, along with our sheriff department, are doing, in my mind, an incredible job responding to the crime issues in our county. But if they're locking them up and they're released 2 days later, it's not just on our law enforcement, it's on what we do when we detain these individuals while they returning to the street as quickly. But my friends, the challenge with crime in Prince George's County is not just the crime. We got to deal with the root issues of crime in Prince George's County. That's what we really have to deal with. We we have to deal with the root issue of crime in Prince George's County if we're going to address what we need to do. And I think as our police chief continue to use technology and also continue to try to detain crime in here, we have a responsibility as a community. It's not just on our police department. I've been there 6 years, and what I want to say to everyone, not only have I been there 6 years, this police chief and his team are arresting and dealing with crime, and we are pleased. We have more work to do, but again, it's not just on our police department, it's on all of us.
Mr. Hunt?
I don't agree. I am from the ghetto. I am. I'm from New York. And I didn't grow up happy. I got beat up by my father. I was taken to court, couldn't walk. And it ended up making me a tough guy. That's why all those clubs you know I own, nobody ever bothered me. I would get rid of the chief immediately. I would get rid of the superintendent of schools immediately because they have no idea of what's going on. Our police officers are janitors. Love you. They sit in parking lots waiting for something to happen, and then all they do is come and clean it up. That's what they do, and then they go back to the parking lot. We need community policing, and how do we get it? First of all, I would get rid of all these municipalities. It's all a joke. Merge everything as Prince George's County Police. That's one. Number two, I'm not saying the chief of police is not a nice guy. He's the best in the world. Kiss him on his cheek. That's not getting us crime go down. Now, one thing Mr. Baker said that was true. And everybody says, okay, you're picking on Aisha Braveboy. No, I'm not. She's a liar. He knows it, I know it. Except I will say it. It's terrible, it is terrible what we're being told, just like her TV commercial. Well, I'm gonna lower your taxes. Liar. We're not 171, we're 200 million in the hole. Some idiot went and said that they were gonna spend $100 million on making 4 or 5 schools, and now we're $100 million over budget. We don't need an audit, we need an investigation so I can tear their heads off from stealing from us. I am not playing. I am not a politician. Trust me, I'll get this fixed. I did it in Southeast, I could do it here.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to respond to something, and I'm sorry that Calvin left. It is, the one thing he is right about it is not just on the police chief. The reason I said I would change the county executive is there is a way to reduce crime and reduce arrests. We've done it. That is why having something like our Transforming Neighborhoods initiative, where we focus on those 6 areas in the county where all the indicators were going in the wrong direction, not just crime, our dropout rate, our lack of transportation, our lack of jobs, and our returning citizens. So it was a comprehensive program that brought in every facet of our government to focus on it. And that's why we saw the reduction in crime and reduction in arrests. But we also started seeing our children who are in our schools actually going to school. So it is starting at the top. The only person that has control of all of those agencies is the county executive. Now, you do need a prosecutor that actually does their job and that works with you. You need a sheriff that does their job and works with you. And we had one when I was county executive. But the leadership stopped. That's my, I'm sorry.
I got something to say. Well, he says not only is right, but there's other problems that nobody here is thinking about. Everybody says Seat Pleasant is a ghetto. It's not a ghetto. Understand what these municipalities are doing to these businesses. CVS left there. Safeway left there. You know why? Because, and check me if I'm wrong, the personal property tax in this area is 2%. In Seat Pleasant, you ready for this? 12 to 13%. So at the end of the year, when you got to pay $100,000, you don't want to be there, you get out. So now the place is a desert. And then it turns into a ghetto. That's part of the problem. Everybody can sit here and say, we need to do this, but it starts back here somewhere in order for this to work, and nobody seems to be doing that. They just make promises to you that they can't keep.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our next. Mr. Hunt, thank you.
You got it.
Our next question pertains to one of the comments that a number of the community put on the information when they signed up. They talked about our youth, that Prince George's County doesn't seem to invest heavily and have a lot of programs for our youth. So when you talk about crime, you know, what are we doing to help our youth, and especially during the summertime? Well, the PFC Coalition and PFC Black Chamber, we have a summer career enrichment program, and it's a 4-week program that we run in the summer aimed at providing middle and high school students with hands-on activities and training in cyber, app development, animation, drones, robotics, media arts, chess, presentation, and graphic design. But guess what? Prince George's County doesn't fund the program. We are funded for this program in 3 other counties. And the program is free to all of the students to attend the program, free transportation, free breakfast, free lunch, because they see the importance, number one, of investing in their youth and innovation. And the handout that is being passed around, we learn by getting funded to do this program on the Eastern Shore. We do it in Caroline, Dorchester, and Talbot County, that there's funding that comes from the state, from the local management boards, and their management boards are one of the sources of the funding, but Prince George's County and Baltimore City gets the lion's share of these dollars. So where are these dollars going? So we need a county executive that, number one, when these types of dollars, almost close to, Prince George's County gets almost close to $2 million. Why can't that money be earmarked? So it's not a part of the county's main budget. These are additional funds. So what we would like to know as county executive, would you support a program like this, making it free for our youth? And will you follow the money? So when money comes in from the state or federal, as the county executive, somebody needs to be monitoring that. So we'll start with Mr. Baker, because he's been county executive before, and this money's been coming in every year like clockwork, and we didn't learn about it until we implemented this program in 3 other counties.
So I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I can say this: when as county executive, something that we did was expand the summer youth program that we had from 300 young people to 3,000, and that's clearly not enough. And part of the way that we funded, that we expanded the program, was to work with nonprofits to actually give them the resources so they could bring our children in and learn skills. And what we hope to do with the program is actually not just have a summer job, but the training that you're talking about that could lead to a career. One of the things I'm proud of is that as I go around the county, I see some of the young people who are now finishing college, working, who came through our program. Clearly, we need to do more. But we can't, and the one thing that is right, we can't do it ourselves. It's not the government that's going to hire these young people. We have offices in our government, but it really has to be the private sector and the nonprofit sector that we team up with to expand it. So if we're going to go from 3,000 to 6,000, then we need to have the nonprofit community there. And so I am committed as county executive to fund that.
Well, I'd like to do a little rebuttal to Mr. Baker. If we are given $44 million to all of these entities, and none of them, there's no line item anywhere for our youth. So we can't say that that's our priority when clearly these same entities keep getting the money. So when new entities form in Prince George's County, they're locked out. And no matter who becomes county executive, how do we change that?
Well, I think what if I hear you correctly, is you're saying that the quasi-nonprofit groups are you talking about?
The quasi-nonprofit, they're 501c3s, and which means that, and some of them are quasi-government, but they can go after funding too. They can write and go after grants.
That's right.
But guess what? If they know that their salaries are going to be paid, their rent's going to be paid, there's no incentive. They don't have to hustle like we do every year to go after funding. So why do we handpick, and I call them handpick, because each administration that comes in every 4 years never changes. So when new innovation comes to Prince George's County, you're locked out. We keep the same old stuff over and over again. So you've been a county executive
Yes.
before, and you said you would just continue to fund these groups. What happened to innovation, newer things, better ways of doing things?
No, you innovate groups that come in, and you can actually, and we funded new groups that came in that did programs around our Transforming Neighborhoods initiative. So if you look at the enterprise that came in for the Prince George's County, so we actually funded new groups, and you can expand it to those groups. It doesn't mean that this is exclusive. It means that as you grow the budget and as you bring in new projects, one, for example, when we did MGM, the now $15 million that's targeted for the community around MGM, that money is a new community group. That is not one of the organizations that you see there. So as we're bringing in revenues in the county, we should be targeting new groups that provide different services in targeted areas. So if you're doing a development in the northern part of the county or any part of the county, we should be actually targeting those new groups. And that's an example of what we would do and what I would do in my administration.
Okay, Mr. Hunt?
Well, Ms. Pruitt, you said basically what I said a few minutes ago. That's what you said. Let's forget about the nonprofits right now, because you're right, what we need to do is find out what nonprofits are really working to our benefit. But we have to get up with the times, ladies and gentlemen. We have to change the curriculum in our schools to get kids interested in being there. This is not 1975. This is not 1985. You have so many different things that can happen in schools. We're talking about video editing, because you teach these kids to make movies. Teach these kids to make music. Teach these kids to service jet plane engines. And then it doesn't stop there, because now you get them excited about something, and then you go with our partners in Prince George's County and give them internships during the summertime. That keeps them off the street, but they also get credit when it's time for them to go to college, if they decide to go to college, because they don't have to go to college. If they have the right learning, plumbers, carpenters, it goes on and on, we can get them jobs. We can make sure that our children are going in the right direction. Now, this nonprofit thing, as I said, what has to happen no matter what, you have to investigate these nonprofits. I don't care how good you say they're doing. We have to make sure they're doing what they say, because we're giving them money and they could be just going home back and forth doing absolutely nothing. Our kids come first. And I think we need to change the curriculum. And that's why, like I said, I would change the chief of police and I would change the superintendent. I already have them picked out. I'm not joking. They are innovative. They're ready to come in. One has a doctor of education, and the other one's been on the job more than 40 years. This is not a joke or game. Everybody does things differently. I'm not looking the way they're looking at it, because I'm not a politician.
And let me just share the summer career enrichment program that is, like I said, funded with some of these local management board funds, is supported by all three superintendents. And normally when it comes to Prince George's County, there's always like red tape, barriers for our nonprofits when they want to utilize the schools.
That's right.
When they want to partner with the schools. We create all these barriers for our nonprofits. So we'd like to see the next county executive have a better relationship and make it easier for our nonprofits in Prince George's County. So leading on to that, another pot of funds that comes in each year to Prince George's County comes from the Community Development Block Grant Funds. And we look through who gets funded. And I'm just looking through my notes because I want to highlight the areas that get that money are mainly in the majority white areas in Prince George's County. Riverdale Park, College Park, Berwyn Heights, Greenbelt, Laurel. Close to $5.5 million, this is on top of the budget, comes in from HUD, Housing and Urban Development. And you have to apply for those funds. But most of the entities that are getting the funding are in the white areas. And this has been going on for 20 or 30 years. And we identified what the problem was, because when I looked, a lot of the municipalities were coming from, like I said, Greenbelt, Berwyn Heights, Laurel, and I'm asking, why are not our black municipalities getting that funding? Well, a lot of them said, number one, they need technical assistance and support. So if the county has not committed to putting any money to do that, they're going to continue to be left out. So I'd like to ask the candidates, what do you plan to do to change that? Because we've been trying to get that changed. And Mr. Baker, that was under your administration as well.
Yes.
Am I first this time?
How do we have, you can go first.
Yeah, okay.
So when you look at the fact that Prince George's County is 62.9% black, 11% white, and 22.8% Hispanic. But when you look at the majority of nonprofit dollars, even contract dollars, are going to majority white entities. That needs to change. So we're looking for a game changer in our next county executive.
Let me just, I'm going to try to correct you without offending you. I'm not looking at what you're saying as whites. It's a melting pot over there with different individuals and different organizations that are go-getters. I said this about 5 forums ago, and I got some applause for it, because they looked at me like I was crazy at first. I says, why do you keep saying black organizations? Stop saying that, because you have done nothing to train these black organizations to get what those other ones are getting. You just expect for it to pop up. Now, you might be a great organization, but everybody else isn't. My point is, I don't look at them as being white. I look at them as a melting pot. You have Maryland University over there. People are coming from all over the world. There's 30, 40,000 kids in that school. They're not all white. We are famous in the world. Maryland University is. But you have go-getters there. We have to train our black, we have to train our black organizations. We have to train our business people that want to be business people the route they take to get to where they want to be, and stop pointing our fingers at them, because they're doing it already. I mean, they really are. And anybody can have an opinion about it, but she just said the truth. Why are they getting all of it? Because they are doing it.
Mr. Baker?
I'm glad that you stated that these are municipalities, because you're absolutely right. Actually, Ron is right. The municipalities who are actually getting the resources from, which is a requirement when you're getting the HUD grant, that you partner with these municipalities. They're actually going in to write the grant themselves, and we're tagging along with them. The county is not writing it, the municipalities are. The portion where you're absolutely correct that we need to do a better job, and that is the technical assistance. Not just for the municipalities who don't have the staffing bandwidth to do this, but also for the nonprofits. Many of our nonprofits can also apply for this, these monies that are coming from HUD, or used to come from HUD. We don't know what this administration at the federal level is going to do. But we have to do a better job of providing the technical assistance. So one of the things that we actually started during my administration, and we saw it during with Glen Arden. We teamed up with Glen Arden, the First Baptist Church of Glen Arden, to take over apartments. We helped them write the grant. We teamed up with the county, and we partnered them with a nonprofit to redo that. We have to do a better job at the county, and I'll commit to doing a better job as the county executive.
Okay, thank you. Our next question pertains to healthy food options, better quality high-end restaurants, black-owned businesses, et cetera, better shopping. So we just did a little research, and there's a Harris Teeter in Bowie and Laurel. There's a Whole Foods in Riverdale Park. There's a Trader Joe's in College Park, and there's a Mom's Market in Bowie and College Park. Now, what do all of those cities have in common? The majority of the white people in the county live in those areas. And so Jerry just passed out, he just...
Majority of the what? Majority of the what?
White
Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm
in the
sorry.
county
I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
live in those areas. And so when you look at the health disparities, Prince George's County Health Department puts out a really great report, if you can get a chance to go online and look at it, that talks about the health disparities. And you'll see that most of the health disparities are impacting black people. When you talk about the low birth weight babies, diabetes, mental health, when you talk about access to primary care. So the sheet that's being passed out addresses some of the, did you guys get it? Let me make certain. So the sheet that we're passing out actually looks at how Prince George's County, and the health department, this is the latest report that they had on the health rankings, and it compares out of 24, actually 23 counties in one city, Baltimore City, where Prince George's County ranks. And if you can see, we're in the 20s category in too many categories. So one of the things the PFC Coalition has attempted to do on several occasions is partner with the health department to address some of the major health disparities that we have in the county. We have had a very, very difficult time in doing that. And so I'd like to know for the next county executive, being that we continue, Prince George's County, and this has been going on for, I've been a resident of the county for 35 years. The health disparities issue has been an issue for, since the time I came to the county. And so even though we change county executives, how are we going to do a better job? And to me, the health department should do definitely better outreach. And we've had a challenge for years. So your leadership funds the health department, appoints the person. What are you going to do differently? I mean, what can be done to improve our health disparities?
Is it me or is it him?
Mr. Hunt, you can take that first.
All right. We go back to what I said from the beginning. We could talk to a blue in the face, a politician, and I'm not talking about him. He's a good guy. Your politicians gonna come up here and saying, "Oh, we're gonna do that for you." Let me explain something to all of you, because all of you are not stupid. It starts in the beginning. It's a 10-year plan. When the woman has a child, the child then is born, and then we have to do one program that carries out for the next 10 years. Pre-care with breakfast and aftercare till 6, the parent saves, right off the break, about $1,000 a week. What I'm trying to say to you is, everything she's saying is absolutely true. But the new hospital that went in, that was a joke. It's 30 beds short from the other hospital that closed down. What are they doing? Are we dumb? You have 30, you ready for this? We have 4,500 buildings that are vacant. That could be for our seniors, that could be for our veterans, that could be for our young moms. And guess what? You'll hear Mr. Washington say something about, well, I like the Blueprint Initiative. That's $1.6 billion right now, and 4 years from now it's $4.1 billion. When we can make these buildings that already have the infrastructure inside of it brand new, not refurbish them, make them brand new for a fraction of the cost. And guess what? Instead of giving our seniors, and this is their health will get better, I need to say this, our seniors.
That's coming up as one of our questions, so you'll get a chance to highlight that.
Wow. As much as I hate to turn this into the Ron Hunt show, I'm going to leave after this, question. But I do want to talk about this health disparity. It is something that we've worked on. The reason we built the new hospital was to actually deal with this issue in Prince George's County. And Ron is right. It was 30 beds short when we built it. And the reason it was 30 beds short is because the legislature would not approve those beds. The governor at the time, Hogan, actually cut the number of beds. So we knew coming into that new hospital, we needed to expand it. The good news is that we actually have the capacity at the hospital right now to expand the beds. The other thing is that's why we kept the property at Laurel as a health place. So we have the hospital at Laurel that we can use, and we have the other thing that we did was we actually started developing inside the Beltway on Central Avenue where Hampton Mall used to be. We turned that into a place of one-stop shop for our health department, our family services, our social service, and our veterans affairs, and a health clinic there with a grocery store there. So we have to continue this. We haven't put it at the pace that we should. That's why we started funding the federally qualified clinics throughout Prince George's County so that we could actually have our health network
connecting together. As county executive, I will continue that work to make sure every part of Prince George's County has access. But the first starts with having a great regional hospital, which is what University of Maryland is.
And Mr. Baker, I know you said you have to get ready to go. If you can answer just our question about economic development, Mr. Hunt started on that. We have a lot of vacant real estate in Prince George's County. We also have blighted strip malls. And one of the things that we presented to this past administration is that why don't we form a Black business row? A lot of our businesses through COVID went out of business. And a lot of them, if we can give them the infrastructure, they could get back in there. If we could do the build out for them, get back in there and start flourishing again. But when you go through Prince George's County, there are just so many blighted strip malls, and we seem to, put all the money in, I feel, the wrong places. And why can't some of this money go into helping with economic development in our county?
You've hit right on it. So what we did, and I'll give you the example of how you can do it. Suitland for years has been talked about being redeveloped, and it was owned by private developers that didn't live in Prince George's County. And every year they would give us an excuse on why they couldn't develop it. And so what we did was we got the Redevelopment Authority and the Revenue Authority, and we bought the property. Prince George's County actually bought it so that we could actually come in and redevelop it ourselves. And the companies that worked on that development were minority-owned companies that actually helped develop the Suitland area. That was our demonstration project, though. The idea was to take that idea and to do the other things you're talking about, to buy up some of these strip malls that people aren't developing for whatever reason it is, because they're absent landowners or they just don't care or they're making enough money, but to go in and have the county buy it, team up with a local nonprofit and the private sector and develop it. Because if we do it ourselves, Ron talks about these vacant buildings. That's an area where we can go in as the county and actually purchase it. We can't do anything if we're not the owner of those properties. We can provide all the incentives we want, but if they're not willing to do it, then we have to go in and actually buy those, and then we control how we want to develop it. We as the community control that. That's why you see what's happening in Suitland, and the next phase will do that.
Mr. Baker, I have a rebuttal for you. How about the buildings that the county does own that are currently vacant? And members of this current county council promised us when they got elected and got in that they were going to address this. We have buildings in the county where the heat is on during the summer. We're paying for it. I mean, just vacant. And we asked if, can we put our small businesses in those buildings, have them pay rent, generate revenue for the county, since the buildings are vacant. Till this day, nothing's been done. So Mr. Baker alluded to property that we didn't own. How about property that the county already owns and is vacant? How can we better utilize that?
That makes it easier. If we've already owned the property and we can then go in, bring in developers to redo the property. If you give me an example of one of the properties I'd like to see is that we own as a county or park and planning.
Do we own 1801 McCormick?
Yeah, I believe we do, yes. Yes.
There are vacant offices in that building that could be turned into
Sure.
incubator space to our businesses and generate revenue for the county instead of being left empty.
Right. We actually have incubator space in our Economic Development Corporation space. We also partner with Bowie State for incubator. But yes, there's more that we can do there. I agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt, did you want
Hunt?
to? And let me just say, it's unfortunate that our candidates have not made a commitment to our church, our National Capital Baptist Convention, our Black businesses, and our nonprofits. And it's unfortunate because somebody's going to be our next county executive. And so we like to arm people with data, so we need to hold them more accountable as well.
You want me to answer the question?
Yes.
Here's the thing. I was saying that before we started it. I'm going to keep it brief, and I'll stay as long as you want, but I'll keep it brief. We have 4,500 buildings and vacant lots. And what we can do is very, very important and very cheaply done for a fraction of this money. They're talking about this blueprint initiative, and it's the worst thing that ever happened because of what I told you before. $1.6 billion, and in 4 years, $4.1 billion. We have properties that we own. Now, I'm tired of hearing senior affordable housing. That's nonsense. Seniors deserve so much more than that. Let me explain something to you. And now you see I'm passionate because when the politicians here, I'm yelling and screaming at them because they lie so much. Rashawn is good people. So I'm not going to say that about him. As I told him before, I just think he's a little behind. But here's facts. Imagine my mother right now is in her 80s. She is I don't have 30 seconds now. She is in a home right now in Florida. They're taking her whole Social Security, which is about $3,500 a month. That's ridiculous. Why not these buildings that we own here, our seniors, we take half so they have spending money, so they can live like human beings. And no, I said, when I first started this, because I thought it was going to be fun, I said seasoned citizens, then everybody starts saying, I'm going to call you signature citizens. Why? Because you deserve so much more. And they need to put their names on a dotted line and give it to you. People that own their homes, seniors, should not be paying any property tax. Stop lying to the community and saying, oh, we're going to drop your property. Liars, they're liars. All of them are.
Mr. Hunt.
No, ma'am, I have no time now unless you...
Thank you for sharing that point about our seniors, because
Yes,
in
ma'am.
other states, when you turn a certain age, your property tax is reduced, which reduces your mortgage payments, and we don't have that here in Prince George's County.
I said I want to do it.
Great.
That's what I
So,
said.
at
And
this
by the way, once I
point-
get the budget together and get everything together and stop this frivolous spending and this wasteful spending and these thieves that I'm going to tear their heads off when I get in office, you know what's going to happen? Everybody here is going to be happy. Everybody, because I work like a dog. I will not stop. I even told Rashawn and Mr. Hawkins, you know what I told them? I said, I can easily get elected here. If I had these people behind me that wanted to put up all this money, I will not take your money. I can't put up my own money, and I put up less than everybody else, only 50. And let me explain something to you. You are so worth it, it's ridiculous. I look at the hope in your eyes.
So,
Ma'am, just let me say this, and whatever you want, but this is important. There's not all these people here now. All I'm going to tell you is this. You elect who you want. No question. But remember, you deserve so much more. All of you. You do. And I don't care about no other municipality. If I am elected, I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm going to clean up. We're going to lose that deficit immediately. Here's what you don't know, Ms. Pruitt. I have a team of attorneys that's been with me since the old days. They're big boys now. And guess what? I'm just like them in their eyes. I ask them to do something that will be done. I come in the office because I'm very aggressive. That's why I've done very well for myself. All right? And I'm going to tell you, we're going to hit those boys that stole that $100 million from us over their heads. Do y'all know what $100 million is? I do. And I'm going to tell you right now, it should be in your pockets. It should be in your programs. It should be for your seniors. But, Ms. Pruitt, I don't think you understand what's happening here.
At this point,
Okay.
I'd like to
Yes, ma'am.
thank Mr. Hunt for, number one, staying the entire time at the forum, listening to the issues, addressing the issues from our constituents. And we believe in commitment because all of the candidates confirmed well in advance. We put their picture on our flyer that we advertise. So we're just a little disappointed that they are showing this behavior before the election.
Can I say something to you?
So
Can I say something to you?
at
A
this
lot of
point,
them leave.
we'd like
A lot
to-
of them leave before all of the things are over. And I'm not talking about these two guys because they had prior commitments. But I'm sitting through these things for the past 2 months, 4 times a week, and I see a pattern of they don't care. You guys come first, damn. You guys come first. And I'm just so passionate about it. And you know what? You don't got to elect me. That's your loss. I work
And
like a
so-
dog.
All right,
And
so
by the
Pat-
way, I only serve
Okay.
one person other than you, spell dog backwards.
Mr. Hunt, thank you so much. Pastor Neil, I know we have some refreshments in the back for people, and I don't know if you'd like to say, Jerry, if you'd like to come up and say some. w-
That's on y'all. Now here we go again.
Well, does anyone, I think we're going to partake in the refreshments. Okay, and if people would like to, anyone have any comments they'd like to share? We have a number of community leaders, business owners, nonprofits here. Anything you'd like to share of any challenges that you've had and something you'd like to see changed in the next county executive?
Comment.
Yes.
My name is Kimberly Booker. I am the founder of the ALB Child Safety Foundation. Some of you all may know of me. Alexander was the child that lost his life on the construction site of the National Harbor when it was being built.
Okay.
And since I've been here, I've not heard the word National Harbor since I've been here. Here's my comment. My comment is we have institutions like the National Harbor, we have MGM, and we have the data centers that are coming in to this area. It is high time that we get them to pay the toll for being in Prince George's County. This is the second most affluent African American county in the country, yet as far as education, we are a joke. As far as property taxes, we are a joke. And as far as how our county council treats us, we are a joke. They look good from the outside, but we all know what's going on the inside. So my comment is the very next time that I come out to see elected officials, somebody needs to send them a message. My time is as valuable as theirs. There's someplace I could be as well. If they commit to being here, they should know that we expect their presence from beginning to end. Because I don't expect a county executive that's going to work 9 to 5. So therefore, when they come before us, it should be known from now on, put them on notice, that if they're going to be talking to us as their constituents, they are in front of us until the last constituent has asked the last question.
Agreed. And
Yeah, hi.
we have someone else. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Freddie Winston. I'm a 30-year-old business, and I've been around this county for 30 years, but I grew up in Virginia. But I had a lot of questions that I wanted to ask all the candidates, not only two.
Not just, yeah.
And some of the questions I had around MVA. Everybody goes to MVA, and now you have to make appointments to go there. And they've raised the taxes, the tags that you get over 60%. Another question I had was about private schools in Prince George's County. You got very limited private schools. You have to go to D.C., Baltimore to send your kid to a decent private school. Economic development. Economic hadn't been the same since Sharon Baker's left. You don't even hear about economic development anymore. The other question I had was, what I would have had was about the Economic Development Fund that's given out through the county. Yet, when you go apply for that fund, you have to have more, they ask you for more stuff than the bank asks you for, and it's supposed to be for small businesses.
Yeah, we had a number of questions on economic development, procurement, et cetera, that we wanted to address the candidates that may potentially be our next county executive. But unfortunately, they did not stay to hear some of the additional questions that we did want to address.
And they talk about small growth for small businesses. Every small business and every business is not designed to push a wheelbarrow. Some of these businesses have good common sense. Why don't they, with all the land and all the development going in the county, why don't they make these developers partner with and joint venture with some of these small businesses to be able to get fees to grow capacity? With all the schools that's being developed in the county now, with this plan they got in place, there's no minorities doing any of this, a part of any of this plan as far as partnering with these big companies that's doing all this work in the county.
In that role, our EDC could play a major role in some of the concerns that you just addressed. And we were looking forward to it, like I said, our candidates to definitely talk about that and address that.
The other question I would have asked the candidates, we know that in the summertime, you see all these bike riders riding up down the road. People are scared to travel, especially the older people. I have an older mother, that's 80-some years old. These guys are zooming up and down the road with their motorcycles. Why don't they create a piece of land that these guys could go ride at, get them off the streets? So that's pretty much a lot of the questions I was going to ask the candidates. And
Well,
and
those
whatnot.
were great questions. Definitely, I noticed motor vehicle went up on their price when you go to renew your registration, driver's license, it's gone up.
And then when you go in there, if you make the wrong appointment, they send you off.
They send you off,
away.
that's right. If you,
It could be nobody in the MVA. So has the
it'll be
governor,
empty. They'll say, reschedule the appointment.
or has the governor went to look at any of these situations as far as us being taxpayers? I mean, we have things to do too. I own 30 trucks. If my people make the wrong appointment, there's nobody in MVA. Why can't the next person take me? And you know what? A lot of these people that work in the MVA are our people. We take no initiative.
Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else have some comments they'd like to share? Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Ruth Wright. I'm the real estate broker of the Wright Realtor. And I just like to thank you and Jerry for putting on this magnificent whatever. I'm sorry that our representatives don't think enough of us to even stay and answer any questions. I grew up in public housing in Southeast DC, and I moved my mother out and bought her a brand new home in Prince George's County at the age of 19. And every single year since we have been here, our property taxes have gone up. And it doesn't make any sense. In DC, they got, for seniors, they got benefits for them. We get nothing. Every single year, the taxes go up. And whatever happened to trim? They still went up under trim, but not as much. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ruth Wright, for sharing. Anyone else? Introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm Tammy Aregbasola. I'm actually a part of the coalition. It's been a few years. Great, wonderful job that you've been doing for small businesses and nonprofits. It was very, very useful for me to get my nonprofit going, so thank you so much for the work that you're doing. But what I wanted to comment on was that I'm a mom of two boys, and my sister is actually a new Prince George's County resident. She moved from Anne Arundel to Clinton, Maryland, and our kids are in private school. Because I've gone to visit Prince George's County Public Schools. It's for where we are, and just like how you address, ma'am, that we are some of the most affluent African Americans in the United States of America, just in this county, and our schools look how they do. I've worked for the county for a few years. I now work for the city of Alexandria because, not for nothing, when he talked about outreach, you know why we don't do outreach? Because we don't give people enough money and incentive to do that outreach. I've been working in disease prevention for years. I'm Dr. Tammy, actually, been doing this work for years, and the work that Prince George's County is doing, I see it, but they're not investing enough in the people that live in this county to do the work. People got to pay bills. We got to figure stuff out. And not having that foundation of an educational system, Mr. Hunt is absolutely right. We don't have, the lady sitting behind me was talking about trade, right? Having programs where young people are motivated to learn. If you're not gonna go to college, that's fine. Learn a trade. Learn to do something so you can pour back into your community, and then, we can now pour back into these schools. I've seen the budgets that was supposed to be poured into these schools. And I see what the schools look like. I see what the teachers look like. I see what the kids are saying. I talk to youth all the time. They're not happy. What are we not doing right in our school system? That's the foundation. We got to invest in our youth because they're going to grow up to actually run this county. And then we got to invest in them when they get older. I work with disability, aging and disability, and Mr. Hunt, absolutely right. The needs of our young people and our older adults very, very much needed improvement in that space. And so, but I'm just happy that you got them here, at least the
Right.
best you could. But,
Right.
Appreciate that you brought them here to, talk about what it is that they can do, because we need to know.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everyone this evening for coming out and taking the time out of their busy schedule to come to hear from the candidates. And for those who have not voted, you still have time to vote. There'll be early voting, I believe, from February 26th to, I believe, that first week in March, and then March 4th is the actual voting date as well. And everybody's been sent mail-in ballots as well, so you can also utilize your mail-in ballots. So, Pastor McNeil, I don't know if you wanted to say any parting words, and are there still some refreshments for people to partake in through the door right here if you'd like to get something to eat?
Just want to say thank you for everyone coming out tonight. Pastor Blue is the pastor of this church. We just want to give him an opportunity to say something to us for opening up his doors for his staff, his entire staff, his culinary ministry, who came to help, who just volunteered, just call and say, whatever you need, we're there. Amen. So we're just thankful for him. I think I have a couple of other pastors, Reverend Nathaniel Thomas and Reverend Bernard Taylor, and our president, Dr. Briggs. We just want to thank them for coming. And all of you, this is our county. Amen. And on a national level, you can see that we have to work from the ground up, not the top down. So we want to inspire you, inform you, as well as help you to make sure you make the right decision when you go into the voting booth. Pastor
Now, I know
Blue.
Pastor Blue was getting ready to come up, but let me just share when I came to visit the church and saw how nice the facility was. I told Pastor Blue we would love to host our nonprofit conference right here in this facility. So those of you who are on our email list, be on the lookout. And this is a good example of a great partnership with our churches and the nonprofit community. So we'd like to thank you for that support.
Amen. Certainly, we greet you all with Jesus' joy. We thank God for the coalition for even asking and having this opportunity to host such an event as this. As I have told my congregation on several occasions, we are not being political, but we are being civically engaged, and politics and economics are certainly a part of the life of the church, and we need to be focused in on what is transpiring in and around our local as well as national governments. And so certainly we're grateful for the candidates that were here. Unfortunately, they did not stay. But as I tell my congregation often, please, ma'am, please, sir, let us be diligent in paying attention to what is coming out of the mouths of each person that is running for these offices, and ensure that we are making not an emotional decision, but that we are making an informed decision so that we place persons in these positions that are going to do justly, love mercifully, and care for those within the charge that they are supposed to serve in this county. So thank you all for the opportunity, and certainly I don't want to get myself in trouble, but we love to have y'all here, but I do got to talk to my official board to make sure that we can make that happen. And the chairperson of my deacon ministry is here, so I just want to make sure I put that on the record. Amen. But certainly we thank you all for coming. And if you don't have a church home, your GPS already showed you how to get here today. Amen. So God bless you. Go in peace and serve the Lord. Certainly refreshments are over in the fellowship hall. Grab a few things, still network amongst yourselves. God bless you. Go in peace and be safe.
Thank you, and everyone get home safe tonight.
Yes, sir. Certainly, a merciful Master, gracious God, righteous Redeemer, Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for each and every person that is represented here, home by home, name by name. God, we ask that you can continue to move by your might and by your power. Continue to give voters the understanding to cast their ballots properly. Lord, provide us with a candidate, even in the midst of this debate, this county executive seat that will do what needs to happen for the people of this county and beyond. Bless us as we leave from this place, but never your presence. It's in Jesus' name we say thank you and amen.
Amen.